The U.S. Green Building Council Los Angeles, in collaboration with several other agencies, has helped create the brand new California Native Plant Landscape curriculum, also known as Native Plant Landscapers. USGBCLA is a nonprofit organization that for years has been finding ways for Southern California to be more sustainable in developing a green building plan for the Southland. And in part, that involves a Green Building Council working with the public, other nonprofits, real estate developers, architects, and educators. The goal is to have residential apartments, multifamily homes, office buildings, schools, even museums and sports fields be as environmentally friendly as possible. The Native Plant Landscaping Program is a series of educational classes teaching gardeners and landscapers how to manage all different kinds of drought-tolerant plants and California native plants in conjunction with their eco-friendly gardens. This certificate program has been developed with some of the leading experts in the field throughout the state of California, and the Los Angeles Department of Water and Power is helping fund this training. Ben Stapleton is the Executive Director of USGBC LA.
The California Native Plant Landscaping certification is really meant to help those that are, contractors, small landscaping companies and others understand how to use native plants in our urban environment, the benefits of native plants, how to market the sorts of services around really maintaining and planting native plants. So we're really using this program as a way to educate and really lift up our gardening community so that they better understand how to use natives in our environment here in California.
Ben explains the Native Plant Landscaper program helps with all sorts of sustainability concerns, everything from creating green jobs and workforce development to helping save the environment while saving water and money. And he says all this begins with education.
I think with so many of our companies and organizations here, folks are very quick to hire a chief sustainability officer, or they'll have a plan to commit to net zero by such and such year. But we don't spend the time to really educate those that are doing the work on a day-to-day basis. Really part of the inspiration for us to work on a program like this was from our Green Janitors program, which works with the custodial and janitorial staff in buildings to really empower them with the awareness around the work that they do and how they're the ones who really decide if a building's sustainable or not. It's really a lot of the same theory around those that are doing gardening work or landscaping work. How do we empower them to understand the context around the work they do and sustainability? Native plants have so many benefits for our communities here. These plants really provide the basis for a lot of our biodiversity in the region. Our insects here locally depend on these native plants. Our birds depend on those insects, and you just go so on and so forth. If native plants are done correctly, they can save so much water, reduce the amount of pesticide use on site. That reduced pesticide use not only makes the people who maybe live or occupy those buildings healthier, but also people who are doing that gardening work. There's just so many benefits that are recurring. Everything's intersectional, and so it's important that we really look at not just when we're looking at a building, what's happening inside that building, but what's happening with everything that's touching that building, because that's really part of the building as well. When we look at green buildings, especially right now when we look at health, so many of us are so much more aware of our own personal health and the spaces we occupy post-pandemic. It's so important to have landscaping that you can interact with, you have green space that you can engage with on a regular basis, that you can get outdoors and experience. Those things have profound health benefits.
Teresa Mackey agrees. Teresa lives in Tahunga, California, an LA City neighborhood within the Verdugo Mountains and the San Gabriel Mountains. This area is notorious for its arid region and wildfire risk, which is getting worse each year due to the drought. Teresa says the Tahunga landscape out here is part of the reason she decided to use a native plant landscaping plan for her garden.
Well, I went and hired a landscaper that had native garden or native plant experience, because I wanted somebody who knew my particular terrain and knew more about the weather conditions that could be up here. So it wasn't just something that was pretty, but it was going to be sustainable, would thrive through all the different seasons here. So that's why I went through a landscaper.
Teresa says in addition to the durability of the native plants and their water conservation, especially during challenging weather conditions, the plants add an emotional sanctuary of sorts for her.
So you have to take a moment to watch the bees and the butterflies and the birds and stuff. So it adds peace. I think, you can come out here after a stressful day and it's very peaceful. It's also very green, very lush. So it also adds beauty to your soul, but also clean air. It also helps clean our air as we, migrate through climate change. You have all this green space. It also helps reduce some of the temperature because it helps buffer. So there's a lot of different reasons why, a garden like this would add value to your home.
And now, Teresa, could you give us the grand tour?
So the native plants that I have here in my backyard is the white sage, which has these beautiful white blooms come spring, summer. Also, white sage is what they use for smudge sticks. So if you're into smudging, or if your friends are into smudging, you can dry it up and, or you can sell your smudge sticks. We have the hot lips here. We have the Cleveland sage here, which has these beautiful purple flowers. In the back corner is a sister plant called the Winifred sage, which has purpley flowers. The tall things right here is the deer grass. It makes a wonderful backdrop if you're going to do a native plant flower arrangement. So you can come out here and pluck different flowers. This is my coffee berry, which birds love and bees love. You can also grind these up and roast them, I understand. It makes a bitter coffee if you're so inclined. In the summertime, what blooms here in my garden is the buckwheat. This is the pink buckwheat. I think there's a couple different versions of buckwheat. This is the pink one. It has fuchsia colored flowers to it, and then it kind of fades out to this light pink. It also makes for a very wonderful flower arrangement. The grass is a Cremax. It's low maintenance. This grass only gets cut like 2 or 3 times a year. It's on a drip system. And here we have the Apricot Mallow, which has these beautiful, beautiful, beautiful kind of apricot flowers that blooms in the spring and here in the summer. And along the back wall here, these are the Carolina cherries. These have these berries that birds absolutely love.
Over the past decade, the Theodore Payne Foundation has been developing the curriculum for students to take part in the Native Plant Landscaping Program. The foundation has been collaborating with USGBCLA, LADWP, and the California Native Plant Society to help launch this innovative plan with the goal of having a more sustainable Southern California through plants. The Theodore Payne Foundation is a SoCal nonprofit that helps educate the public about all the various types of California native plant landscapes with the help of their own nonprofit nursery. Brenda Kyle is the Community Engagement Coordinator with Theodore Payne. Brenda helps lead environmental programs all over the LA area, and she helps recruit students for the Native Plant Landscaping Program.
My role with the program is to provide support and give all program participants the resources they need, not just to complete the program, but to use everything to build their business. Being in the nursery business, one of the questions we always got was, do you know someone who can help maintain my garden? Not just do installs, but do the maintenance. So that we saw a need, and partnering with LADWP, California Native Plant Society, United States Green Building Council, LA, it was a natural fit. Everybody has a different level of expertise that they brought in to the program.
Brenda says possibly the Native Plant Landscaping Program could evolve into a prototype for all of Los Angeles, California, and even other parts of the U.S., given the fact that native plants use about 75% less water than non-native plants. That's a massive cost savings for the nation.
This program is going to help Angelenos build sustainable, aesthetically pleasing gardens as an alternative to lawns. As more municipalities start offering rebates to lawn alternatives, there's going to be a need for landscapers, landscape architects, and even the yardero business model to be more knowledgeable on how to care for native plants. LA will serve as a model to the rest of Southern California on how to use water for sustaining wildlife and nice gardens, and to the rest of the country, especially the western states, as we go through our cycles of drought and fire and rain and mudslides and everything else. Whatever the condition, there is a plant specifically suited for that. And the educational factor alone would help everyone, not just Angelenos.
Brenda explains that people from all backgrounds and all walks of life are now taking part in the new program, which is taught in English and Spanish. Students include everyone from architects, landscapers and designers, to city representatives, and even reps from theme parks. And certainly individual gardeners and owners of mom-and-pop landscaping shops from all over Southern California are participating.
When you're planning a garden, a lot of people look at it as, this garden, it's here to serve me. The way that we structured this program, it's holistic. It's this is the garden, this is the savings to you, and this is what you're also doing for the environment and to sustain wildlife, and then this is how the wildlife is also helping you. So it comes full circle. California native plants are already adapted to our very specific climate. They're used to our cycles of rain, of drought, of fire. It's built into their DNA. So putting something that geographically would have been there anyway, it makes sense. During fire season, homes that are in the urban-wild interface, a well-maintained, well-planned garden can theoretically save structures.
Yoselin Osegueda Molina and Otonio Rodriguez took part in the native plant landscaping program, and they are now officially native plant landscapers, having graduated from the classes. Yoselin and Otonio have a gardening and landscaping business.
For 2 years, I have been working with my husband in landscaping and gardening here in Los Angeles, California. And this is what I do. Before that, I didn't know anything about plants, but now I'm so in love with nature.
We want to increase our knowledge, to give our clients better options to have a beautiful garden with spending less money.
Yeah, and also, I think one of the main reasons that we decided to take the course was we don't want to get stuck in the traditional landscaping and gardening. The world is changing every single day, so we must change with it. And also, we need to expand our knowledge and offer to our clients something different, new, and ecological.
Yoselin explains what she and the other students have been learning from the program.
The first thing they're going to learn is about how to identify the native plants here of California. And that is really interesting because this state have more than 200 species of native plants. So it's really good for them. And also they're going to learn about simple things like how to do a soil test.
Also, they can learn about the Department of Water and Power Regate program.
As Yoselin and Otonio also explain, the program taught them how to identify native and California-friendly plants. They learned about things like irrigation scheduling and water delivery, as well as best practices to care for the native plants and how different soils affect landscape management. And they studied all about weed and pest management in native landscapes. You could say they are now experts in native gardens. And possibly the best part about these native plants?
They need less water, they need less care, so you save your time. And at the end of the day, you save your money.
Saving water and saving money? Now there's a novel concept.